And you also have to give them meaningful comments back in ways that, in a number of different ways. As an example, I'm guilty of this, but there's a reason for this. If you are writing a thesis, and I'm just using, you're not writing a thesis, so get that out of your head. If you were writing a thesis, I would grade that thing, and there would be hundreds of comments in that thesis that you need to pay attention to, because what I'm doing is I'm nitpicking every little thing in there so that it looks really good. But for a typical paper in a typical class, that is not only not necessary, it's counterproductive. It causes students to not read the feedback, and it discourages them from changing. By far the best approach is to just find 3 to 5 ideas that you see in the paper, major ideas that impacted their grades, point those ideas out, and then explain to the students what they could have done differently with that to get a better grade, and that next time they can do it differently. And what the research shows is that that really tends to work, and then students internalize that feedback because it's only 3 to 5 points. Oh, I can remember that. Okay, I need to do X, Y, Z next time. The other thing is, and this is really kind of interesting, digital voice recording for feedbacks really tends to give very robust and useful feedback to students, and they like it. Part of the problem with that is that in some learning management systems, you again have to get out of it, you have to record it, you have to import it. It's crazy. But those are being less and less common now. Most systems now allow you to actually just record right in the email or right in the post or whatever, and you can just turn the recording, do it, and give it feedback that way. Students really like that, and it really helps them. So, the major principles of useful feedback, they're pretty simple, but they're really important. Be timely. Understand when it's the right moment to give feedback, and give feedback at the time. Be responsive. Pay attention to what the students are doing in the environment they're working in, and be responsive to that. Be frequent. You don't have to grade everything, but give feedback frequently. Take advantage of the tech. If setting up quick grading works, do it. And put yourself in the student's shoes when you give feedback. What would you want to hear if you were a student that would help you do this course better? Persistence and success are so tied together. And we've talked about this with small teaching and some of the other parts of the course. There's a theorist by the name of Dwork, and the quote basically says that effort is important. If you don't have effort, nothing's going to happen. And but the thing is that effort has to be towards a goal, and that goal has to be towards learning and improving. So what we have to do is we have to structure our classes to help students be persistent, and if we can keep them persistent, then they tend to graduate. So persistence can be increased by nudging students along, and this can be done by an email or in extreme circumstances, a phone call. Right now, as I'm recording this, I'm actually sitting on a doctoral committee for one of my graduates who didn't quit the program when she was having a really, really bad month, because I sent her a short email just at the right moment. Now, the really funny part was, I knew she was having some trouble, but I didn't realize it was the right moment. I just sent her the email and said, look, it appears that you're really struggling right now. You seem distracted. You haven't done well on this thing. Let me help you in any way I can. Would you please give me a phone call and we can discuss this? Now she's finished her bachelor's, her master's, and she's almost done with her PhD. She's a faculty member at a university, and all because I just nudged her at the right moment. That doesn't make me a hero. That just means I was doing my job. Also, use goal contracts. That helps students do persistence and then succeed. And what a learning contract is, or a goal contract, whichever way you want to call it, it helps the students own a little bit more about what they're allowed to do and what they want to learn and all that kind of stuff. And these contracts say, okay, if I want to earn an A in this class, I have to do and achieve the following goals. If I want to earn a B, I have to do these goals. If I want to do a C, and then these contracts also allow the students very often to suggest additional criteria. And you can reject them or accept them. They're pretty useful. You'll have to go out and sort of learn a little bit more about them on your own. I'm not going to get into a discussion about it. But one of the things that is that those contracts really clarify what your expectations for students are. And the students understand that. And those contracts allow the students to understand what is, what constitutes failure and what constitutes success, and, as opposed to, when you say a 90 is an A, what does that mean? 90% of what? But when the contract says you have to do A, B, C, D, E, and F to get an A, and you have to do A, B, C, D, and E to get a B, and so on and so forth, then students will get it. Also, and I brought this up before, using mastery quizzes. Those are the small quizzes. They're not part of the final grade, but they force students to stop and go back and do it. I used to use them before I would allow students into the class. I would post an online mastery quiz for the reading, for the homework reading, and they had to earn at least an 80% out. They could take the quiz as many times as they wanted to, but if they didn't have an 80, they weren't allowed in class. It only took about 2 class sessions before everybody showed up with all the reading done every single time. Also, scaffolding assignments helps persistence because students have these small successes along the way. And that's the whole idea. So what you want to do is set up situations where students are going to master what they need to do, and they succeed. They're a winner, and they continue to do that. And when we have massive tests that are very infrequent, or the tasks are set up in such a way that students typically fail those tasks, that discourages them and actually reduces persistence. So the key principles behind persistence that lead to success are, through personal interactions and structures, help students commit to and achieve success. In other words, you're like a car salesman. You're selling ideas and you're selling motivation. So you're a motivational speaker and you're selling ideas. Provide lots of structure. Make sure that students know what's going on and know what to do. And then create personal touch. That's so important. They have to see you as a person,